Hi guys, Justin with TheActionReport.com. We're here for podcast number 11. I'm joined by Mr. Mark Griffin. How you doing, Mark?
I'm still doing fine. I'm not sure why, but I'm still here and fighting, getting more gray hair.
And I'd like to thank everybody for joining us again.
Yeah. We're almost to the dozen, Mark.
Right, yeah, 12. Well, yeah, we're getting there.
Pretty soon we'll syndicate this and get rich like Seinfeld. I wish.
Be nice.
Wouldn't it?
So what's going on? You're going for Swanee, right, this weekend?
Oh, yeah, I make the 300-mile trek with and Bill Stock from my office is going to go up and help us to do the Swanson Memorial, which is going to be a monster this year.
Yeah.
The field is just awesome. And, you know, if you go to our website, you can see who's in it and everything. You have to go to Play BCA and hit events, and it drops down. It's just a super strong field. You got Efren, Bustamante, Santos, Perica, John Schmidt. I think Jesse Ingles is in it. Mitch Ellerman, Alex Pagulayan. I mean, it's crazy.
Well, that's good that
there
Alex is
are
gonna
over
be there.
20 players that could easily win this event.
Is Alex coming to Reno?
I believe so.
Oh, sweet.
And you know, one of the advantages that we have we are now doing everything online for signups is you can go to our websites and you can see who's in all the events. You just go to playbca.com and hit the events, and it'll go to the bar box, you know, and somewhere in there, I can't remember where, but I do it all the time. It'll say just see the entries or something, and it drops down. It's on the bottom of the page, so if you get to the page, scroll down, and you'll see a little menu thing or something. It'll have a whole bunch of names, because that's the 8 ball, and you hit that thing so you can see how many are in the 9 ball and the 10 ball, and it's like real time. As soon as somebody signs up on the internet, pays their credit card, point, their name's in there, alphabetically.
Nice.
And we'll be running that on CTS, which is...
What is the Swanee race to what?
The race to Swanee is a race to 7 on the winner's side and 6 on the losers. The second day, 64 people come back. And when we get to 48, then the loser's side also goes to 7. Okay. I can do that because the matches are faster. But unfortunately, this is a 192-man tournament on 9-foot tables, and we do it in 2 days, and we only have 26 tables. So you can't even schedule out the matches. It's basically, when do I play? And I says, are you playing that guy? Opens. Next table. And we slam them. If you guys ever want to see an ugly, chaotic, orchestrated mess, but we really do know what we're doing.
Yep.
And you know, it's neat that it's full. We've already done the draw. We provide everybody with a sheet where they can look up their name alphabetically to see where they started on the chart. Because the biggest question is, where am I? Well, all I can do is I can tell you where you started, because I don't know if you won or lost. You have to chase it through the brackets.
Sure.
This is a 256-man bracket, because you have to do that in 64 buys. I mean, it's 8 feet wide.
Yeah.
You can find it just as fast as I can find it. You just have to look upside down, and I don't.
Right.
But it's a trip. It has become quite the thing in Southern California. It's the largest big table tournament other than the U.S. Open. And they take a week. We take 2 days. So that's because we use the magic rack. We don't get into racking arguments. Which there were some debates on AZ Billiards about racking again. There's always debates about racking.
Always will be.
You know, rack your own versus this and that. And, you know.
For me, the magic rack in tournaments is just, you know,
it eliminates a lot of crap.
It's time, you know. It's, to me, any like negative mark against the magic rack will never be as big as 2 guys arguing with a rack in a match for an hour. You know, nothing's worse than that.
Well, particularly in the type of thing that TAR does, where you get a one-on-one tournament.
Well, with TAR, that's different, because it's 2 guys, and you know, they can negotiate to do whatever they want.
Sure.
And you know, that's a different format. But when you're talking about a tournament, let alone a tournament like what you're talking about, where you've got guys, you know, it's just, if you add, I mean, just think about it. How many games are played in a 190 to whatever man, you know? Now imagine if it just takes 1 minute extra.
Oh,
To rack every game.
You're just in dead trouble, because 192-man bracket is 383 matches. And, you know, if you take an average game of, let's say there's an average, you know, you're going to have 7 to 0s, the lowest, and 7 to 7, 6 is 13. So let's say there's 10. That's 3,800 games.
Yeah.
You take an extra 20 seconds.
Right. I
You'll
agree.
be there till 2 days later.
Yeah.
And you can't afford it. So The only bad thing is, and we run into this in some of the pool rooms, that they haven't replaced the balls off enough, and believe it or not, balls change size.
Sure, yeah.
Big time. And a triangle will show you. Any triangle. Push them together and all of a sudden a ball starts spinning. Guess what? It's smaller.
Yeah, yeah.
It's common sense. And so sometimes you have to move them around to get them frozen and everything, but that's not I can't do anything about that. I guess I could, I'll do a tournament and I'll even give you free sets of balls for all your tables.
Well, you could bring all the balls in and then take them home.
Actually, we're taking 10 sets in.
Yeah, just in case there's...
Well, I was talking to some of the people there, and they said it would be nice. So I just don't have enough to bring in 26 sets. So we're bringing in 10 sets. So at least the second day will all be played.
We should just check your closet. You should just check your closet at home. I'm sure you've got 200 or 300 sets somewhere.
I do, along with all the cues and the buckets of money. So,
I'm not. That's not what I'm talking about. Oh. This guy has got more pool shit than anybody you've ever met in your life.
That's true.
You want the no gambling sign from Bill's Backwoods Billiards Hall in Shithole, Alaska? He's got it.
Yeah. You've never been to Shithole, Alaska. How'd you know that sign was there?
Right, exactly.
I don't know.
But no, he's got. I like. It'd be neat to sit and maybe it's one of those things. But like, what was it? Very first issue of Billiards Digest.
Oh, I have all the magazines.
I saw that. That was kind of cool.
And we had a lot of oddball magazines that went way back. And Bob Jewett, I found out he would like them. So I started sending him boxes. I think we sent one time 11 boxes. These are big boxes. Shipped them to him, and just all these oddball ones. They've been out of print for 10 years because I just really keep track of the major ones.
What are the real expensive one pocket books? Winning One Pocket?
Yeah, and Shots, Moves, and Strategy.
Yeah.
Robin.
One day I'm walking through the office and there's all these boxes on a skid, and I'm like, hey, what's that? And he goes, oh, that's Winning One Pocket. Yeah. These books are like, what, $100, $200 a piece?
Yeah, but that was
I know that was a deal.
Ago, it was a situation that,
But I mean, that's the kind of thing at the warehouse that's kind of cool.
Well,
you walk around.
Get.
Exactly. It's like a little scavenger hunt.
But, the Swanee's great. Then we have the bar table coming up 10 days after that. So
Reno's going to be good. So I can talk to you later, but it's going to be interesting getting all this stuff up there and set up. But we're bringing the arena. Andy Chen's going to be coming with us. Yeah. I'm trying to lobby for Cali Red to go with us. I don't know if everybody out there write to Mark and say, let Cali Red go to Reno. Because we really need him.
Let him free.
Yeah,
make him free.
We really need him.
We really need him.
I want him to go. I think all of you should want him to go too.
Oh, yeah. We should just shut our office down. We should make all our office go up and play pool.
Well, he doesn't do anything at the office.
Well, he's supposed to, though.
Well, he's so new.
He's in training.
Well, exactly. So I'll train his ass.
Okay. Yeah. But anyhow, Andy's going up, and like you said, we're going to have all the cameras and
the arena,
and the arena. This is going to be. It's pretty exciting. We're starting to get some pretty good amounts of signups. I don't know the actual numbers. 4 or 5 days ago, we had like 90, right at 100 in the 8-ball, and today or tomorrow is
already 100 in the 8-ball. That's good.
Well, that's just in the men's. There's like 26 or something in the women.
Good.
And that's before late fees kick in. I think they start today or tomorrow. You'd have to check our site. I'm expecting, the last weekend.
You usually get a pretty good amount on site, right?
Yeah, yes, we usually do. The last weekend, when we have the World PPA doing their event, plus our 8-ball is the largest, if we get lucky, we could push 400 people. It's not a monster tournament compared to 6,000, but this is in Reno.
It's a pretty good tournament, man.
And this is going to be a great event.
Yeah.
We've got 40 bar tables, 12 9-footers, and we're staggering them so you can play in both the 7-foot events and the 9-foot events.
Yeah.
And during the first 4 days, we'll be doing all kinds of minis on the 9-foots and on the 7s. Our first mini on the 9-foots, by the way, is going to be one pocket, single elimination, to 23 balls.
Cool. It'll be interesting.
It's fun, it's reasonably fast, and we're going to make it cheap. These are all going to be cheap minis.
Yeah.
A lot of it's just to introduce people to the game, and then to keep the other ones a little sharp. Just sharpen them up, because we have the U.S. Open one pocket coming up in May. So,
right.
So, I mean, we stay pretty busy.
And I just want to, this is something I wish more tournaments would do, but the plan is to have everybody, the main tournament, the U.S. Open Bar Table Championships, the plan is to have everybody done around 7 o'clock for the day.
With the bar table.
Yeah, with the bar table. So then if you want to stick around and play minis or match up, or if you want to, God forbid, go to a real restaurant in a pool tournament. You know, because normally by the time you get out of a pool tournament,
it's midnight.
Yeah,
it kills you.
Everything's closed.
Well, we have 40 tables this year, and at the Sands, we never had more than 32 tables.
And some of those got taken away.
But during the 8-ball, we were down to 24 tables because we had this group would come in and do their Scotch doubles things. So what we did on 24 tables, we can now do on 40 tables.
Right.
We expect to grow a little bit, but not almost twice as much. So we'll be fine. It's going to be good. And this is a great venue. This is where the IPT held their second event. Cool. We have a room that's got 33,000 feet.
And we got some cool vendors, too.
We've actually got quite a few vendors.
Yeah.
Omega.
My man, Joe Salazar.
What's
up, Joe?
Jacoby. Jim Knott. See, now I'm going to get in trouble because I'm going to forget somebody.
Yeah.
Jude from Shaftmaster. Ron Geyer from Q Connection. He does repairs and sales. Clothing, we got Hustlin. Frank Nordman, who's Pools the Game or something. It's a new a new clothing guy. And the guy that's out of California.
What's he do?
Clothing. Can't think of the name.
Gambling?
Yeah, it's a funny name. I
thought they were out of Florida.
Steve Dittmer is his name. I can't remember the name of his clothing. I think I got everybody. I may have missed something.
I think that really adds to a tournament. I mean,
will.
When you have vendors, because you've got everything from, you know, production entry-level cues, and then, you know, if you're a collector or you're into like high-end stuff, or the other thing is, like when Joe sets up, and Michael with Omega, he's got some beautiful high-end stuff.
Yeah, he's got some pretty cool
stuff. But
you learn something.
I think it adds being it. I mean, to me, that's something cool. Is to go over and be able to look and say, oh, okay, wow, that's a Joss West, or that's a nice Southwest, or you know, a Haley or a Showman or something like that.
You know, and we've got a strong field.
Or a Sugar Tree.
Yeah, we've got a strong field coming into play in this thing. I mean, we're getting. And we've got some people that have never been to Reno. Willie Bettmore's going to come in and try the 9
footers. Cool, really? That's awesome, man. I haven't seen him a few years ago.
Engels. And,
Beckley's coming?
Yeah, Pinniger.
Nice.
You know, Shane, Boosty.
Yeah.
You know, we got...
Alex, you said Alex is probably going to come?
It's going to be some pretty serious pool. And like I say, you can just go to our site and it'll tell you everybody that's in the events. We're in the process of redoing our sites, all of them. We looked at the preview today and got some suggestions, and it's several months down the road. We're doing a landing page and then the 3 pages, and then we have to reorganize, because, you know, I'll be the first to admit, our sites suck. It's really easy to make a site suck. It's hard to make it unsuck. Yeah. So it's just been that we've evolved over 3 or 4 years with, like, where are we going? I don't know. Just put it there.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. And then you got to go back through and organize everything.
So we're in organizing.
I guess are you gonna integrate CTS so it's part of the main site, so you don't have to go CTS on demand?
It'll have links to it and everything. Okay. We're also in the process of integrating all our software, because when CTS is all over and done with, it's going to be about the only one in the country that does what it does.
CTS is the shit.
But it's complete player management. You can use it for softball.
Yeah.
You can use it. You know how many softball? You learn something every day. A couple of years ago, they had the World Series of softball in Vegas. So I said, okay, let's check it out. They have almost as many softball referees as the BCA Pool League has members. They have 48,000
umpires.
Umpires.
They're called umpires.
In the American Softball Association. They have 4 million members. And I want all you pool players to listen to this. When they go to the national tournament, they play triple elimination, and the winner gets...
Trophy?
12 aluminum baseball bats and some gloves. Yeah. No money. Yeah. None. Zero. Zip. Nada. And it's like $300 a team entry, and on and on and on. I mean, sometimes pool players kind of bug me because where's the added money? Well, go talk to softball players.
A lot of places
amazing.
like that.
I never 4 million.
Shooting same way. There's no added money in shooting.
You know, we promote pool. and we want them to make a living at it.
Well, that's the thing.
It's a different mentality.
It's a paradigm. You know, it's just a way of looking at it. It's like, you know, so, you know.
Well, you need to fix it.
No. Well, some people already do. The was it the APA and their U.S. Open Amateur or whatever?
Yeah.
You know, all you win's a trophy.
Well, you get an entry, whatever, to the U.S. Open. Yeah. No, I understand.
But I mean, it's no added money.
No, it's a money making situation.
And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean,
no,
I don't think all tournaments should be that way, but you know, it's you know, the reason there isn't more added money tournaments because they don't make money.
Amen. You can't squeeze water out of a rock, and right now there's nothing there.
If you know, if anybody could find a way to make a profit on added money
then
tournaments,
everybody would be doing it.
Wouldn't that be great? Wouldn't that be great? Yeah. You know, no, seriously. I mean that.
So we're still working on some answers. I had a really good discussion that you don't know anything about, and I probably am not going to tell you, but it has to do with somebody that's trying to.
I'm glad that happened for you.
Well, you didn't even know you didn't know it.
I didn't know, but now that I know, I'm glad that you know you're happy about it.
Well, it has to do with a possible. You know, how many of these have we heard? TV thing for pool. Who knows? You know me. I will listen to anybody. I listen to you. I'll obviously listen to anybody. I'm an equal opportunity listener.
Was it some guy in a trailer with, you know, talking about he had to talk fast because his minutes were almost up on his phone, but he's got this idea. All he needs is 5 million.
No, actually, this person has talked to a number 2 or number 3 man in a major network, not network, TV channel that you all watch all the time.
Sure, yes.
Okay. Well, I saw the emails. So.
Okay. Did he hand him a mint in the bathroom?
No.
Sorry, man. Right. I'm just skeptical. You know, I'm from Missouri.
Listen, I'll listen. I'm not saying it's going to happen. You know, you got to talk about it before it can happen. So who knows? Well, the big story of the news is your man, Mr. SVB, kind of tore up the Derby.
Yep.
You know how strong is that? Two ones and a 2.
He almost swept.
Yeah.
I don't. Pretty sure there's somebody's won 2 out of 3 before, right? Efren done it?
I don't. Not in the same year. I do not believe so.
Has anybody ever won 2 out of 3?
I don't. Not in the same year. I don't think so. And you know, it's possible somebody. I know that they've. You know, Efren's won the all around 2 or 3 years, maybe even 2 years in a row. See, they were making a big deal. This is 2 years in a row for MVP, and they were saying nobody's done that. Well, Efren has done that.
Mm-hmm. Master of the table.
Master of the table. Yeah. So.
But no, that's.
You know, and I watched him play a lot. Not a lot, because I was only there for 3 days, and he played good.
Be interesting.
I just wouldn't say he played exceptional.
Yeah. And that you know.
I mean, you know, I didn't see any of these fantastic shots like he did last year, where you jump over a ball and drag it back, and these hero shots. I will say something that a couple people even told me that early in the match, early in the tournament in Banks, that they were seeing that John Morrow was there to take names and kick ass. Mm-hmm. He was just so dialed in, and he won the Banks. And I watched him beat Brombach, and Brombach had him, and I could just see that this was not going to go good for Brombach. And I think he had him 2-0 in games. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure. And of course, I saw that Sean Wilkie get to Shannon Dalton. Shannon Dalton had him 2 games to 0, and Wilkie wins the match. And Shannon had 4 or 5 open shots, and he just. You know, it changes when you're freewheeling or when you're thinking about it.
Sure.
Brumbach's a really cool guy, and he even posted on Easy Billiards, had a great time, blah, blah, blah. He says, I think I tried too hard. Mm-hmm. You know, who knows?
Yeah.
I still take Brumbach for the cash.
Well, that's kind of the other thing for a player like John. You know, he's always been a great banker, but it seems like in the last maybe 4 years or so, he's really emerged as, you know, kind of, I don't know if you'd call him the Bugs Rucker of our era, but I mean, he's synonymous with bank pool. You know?
He's recognized as like maybe, I mean, I only saw pictures or whatever of Eddie Taylor. I mean, I knew people that traveled with him and everything. I don't know if there'll ever be an Eddie Taylor. I'm the guy that banks 37 balls, and that's full rack banks. Short rack banks and full rack banks are completely different games at the beginning of the game.
Right.
There's too much traffic in full rack.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? So who knows? But Brumback is a pretty sporty player, and he's not a full-time pool player.
No, that's what I mean. It's like basically John's got one tournament a year.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
He has one tournament a year, the Derby City. Now, if that don't add a little heat to you, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, so, but.
Yeah, and I actually was pointing out he did good. He did 5th in the one pocket and 30th in the 9-ball. So he finished like
Strong.
6th or 7th in the all-around. But
I'd
Brandon Schaff came in 3rd
We
in
had
the
a good
all-around.
tournament, yeah.
He came in 3rd in the banks or something. And now when we're going to Reno, he's going to Fujiwara.
World 8-ball.
And I'm not knocking anybody, but
You know what they
him
say?
and Hunter are the only 2 Americans going to a world tournament.
You know what they say about the word "but"?
No.
You can forget everything that came before it.
Okay. All right, but you might be
I'm
right.
not trying to stir up any shit, but
Okay.
I don't blame him for going.
Oh, he's supposed to go, but I'm not.
No,
sure
he's supposed to go because that's
he won the opportunity through one of our events.
exactly.
I'm really happy for him.
No, he's supposed to go. But if you're a player sitting at home by yourself,
Yeah. It comes down to it's too much.
Maybe
too
"but's"
little,
not the right word, but
too little money being cut up by too many people.
I mean, would you go?
Well, I probably would, but that's a different.
Now would you go
if it was my rent
every
money,
year?
No.
Right, and that's the thing. It's okay. I know some players that have taken a shot and they'll go.
It's a $2,500 shot, and
Yeah.
that's without spending money. That's just
Right.
that's airfare, hotel, and food.
Right, and now you got to go play best in the world. You don't know who. The conditions can range from great to terrible. The formats can be goofy, so it's a tough road to hoe. But then again, it's the same. It's the same. They play on the same tables for everybody, and if you want to be a world champion, that's what you got to face.
Well, I was even riding the moving stairway between the hotel and Derby City, and Niels Fayen and I. I never do know how to pronounce his name. Is it Niels Fayen or Fayen?
Fayen is how I've always
nice
pronounced
guy.
it.
He's
Yeah,
always
super
been,
nice guy.
Yeah, super nice and everything. And we talked for probably 45 seconds, and it was, the Americans just aren't showing up. He says they don't ever go to the Worlds. How do they expect to play as good as they can if they don't play the best? A lot of truth to that. And everybody says, and the Filipinos, they mix it up all the time. I don't ever hear the Europeans mixing it up, so I'm not sure if that's a valid thing. But they do play together. But the Filipinos are still, they're still in the driver's seat as the best players in the world, and they stay sharp.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, steel sharpens steel. Mm-hmm. And that's what it is. They're and I asked Bustamante,
except for that Boosty, that guy over the hill guy.
Well, I asked Bustamante about that, and he said it's real simple. It's because these players, the Filipinos, they get a lot of credit for playing each other, but they ain't sitting there playing with their own money. There's a support structure in the Philippines that
is an honorable support structure. No business.
Yeah, pool. There's always been a little shady in this country, but there was a time. Like I know guys who back in the '70s and '80s, I knew guys back in Indianapolis, some bar owners who did some other things too. But they said there was a time where action was common. Especially in Indianapolis, road guys that come through, you could get $1,000, $2,000, $5,000 action.
20 years ago.
Yeah, no problem. I mean, and guys were playing all the time. There was always something to do, and but somebody got smart and decided to start doing things you're not supposed to do, and now what happens? Now nobody cares about pool.
Too many people got.
Yeah.
Too many bruises.
When somebody does something for recreation, and you fuck them, they're going to go find something else to do for fun.
Something else. It's
not
has the shorts anyhow. He's getting half. He's getting 2 to 1.
Yeah, that's what I mean. He's giving up 2 to 1. That's what I mean, so there's really unless you've got a stone cold mortal lock, there's really no other reason than to do something like that other than you just you enjoy it.
You like the guy, you like the game,
and that's, but. I don't know. Don't want to dive into that too deep, but the Philippines is a different.
They've got the answer.
Yeah,
it fits their culture because they don't have. Well, they have soccer and who knows what, but they don't have basketball and football on every weekend. Mm-hmm. This is their profession. Mm-hmm. This is what they do.
Well, I like, you know, I kind of, I don't know. It's interesting, you know, the stable system, what I know about it from talking to people, and I think a lot of it comes from the fact that the Philippines is a very poor country, and there's really no middle class. You're either well off or you're not. And so now you've got all these guys, they're hungry, they see a way they can make a living. You know, Dennis Roculio was a fisherman.
He's a fisherman, yeah.
You know,
and that doesn't mean in a 30-foot boat out there with power. That means going out in a 12-foot skiff with a line,
right.
You know.
So, I mean, it's... So I'm sure making a living with a pool cue looks real good to a lot of people, and you know, I want to get over there someday because
I've only been there once. It was interesting, yeah. And there was action. But you know, when you go over there when the World Tournament is on, there's going to be action because you got all these foreigners. Sure. So you know, I don't know how it would be on a normal day-to-day thing, but you know, Helfert and all those other guys go over and they say there's always
somebody doing something.
And you know, everybody will play, but you know they might be playing for what they'll say they're playing for 500 or 1,000 pesos, which is like $20.
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing is
that's a 2 days' wages.
It's not like here where if somebody wants to play, they won't play unless you know. You know the players all want to play for $1 million because that means their cut's bigger if they win. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's. But somebody actually posted. Something that I think bears talking about, and that's the Seminole Tribe. I think last week,
valid topic,
came out and said that they were officially finished.
I understand they're finished in boxing too.
Well, from what I understand, maybe it was Uwadi who posted, or somebody from down here in Florida, I think. Yeah. Evidently, there was a political change in the tribe, whereas I guess based on that post, the guy who's in now was like the original man, like the guy who got him into gaming, or was like really kind of shaped. Okay. And he was voted out. The administration came in that did the pool and stuff like that. They're gone. The old guy's back in, and it's basically a house cleaning of anything they were behind or involved in. It's gone.
That could be true. All I know is the Seminoles have a board process or something, and I was under the impression basically the board changes every year. That's to me.
Well, the board can change every year, but like administrations or factions.
That could be. And OB was the one that was pushing that in that group. Asquela, how do you pronounce it? Pushed the pool thing. I've heard a couple of different stories, and I'm not swearing they're real or true, but I've heard from many sources the reason the Seminoles got into the supporting pool was part of the Indian Gaming Act, which they made a treaty with Florida. And one of the conditions of that treaty was you have to support a sport. They chose pool. So they had to pick something, and it wasn't a huge money. I think that I heard the number around $300,000 a year they had to put into a sport. So they picked pool. Good for them. But one of the major problems I also heard from some of the people in the industry, they could never make long-term plans because they kept having management changes because of their structure. Not because you're fired, you're doing a lousy job, but because the selection process. They would never make a commitment more than a year. You can't do things with a one-year commitment. It doesn't give you time to build the infrastructure. I really appreciated what they did. They did not get good value out of what they did. No. They didn't promote. They didn't work with the industry, and because they wouldn't say what they're doing, they couldn't. You couldn't get it going. Yeah. And it was unfortunate. You know, I can say the exact same thing about the Galveston thing. They just wouldn't work with the infrastructure that's out there. And you know, you could get there eventually if you keep doing it for 10 years, but by then you've gone through everybody's bankroll. Yeah. So it's unfortunate. The industry really appreciates what the Seminoles did. They ran some good events. Yeah.
The one tournament I'll really miss is the Miserac. You know, to me that was, you know, the tour was nice and it gave guys a chance to get out there and play some events. But some of my favorite events I've ever been to were at the Seminole Hard Rock down in Florida with those Miserac tournaments.
But, point in case.
Case in point.
Oh, that's okay. You know what I said. You know, communications is only so the other guy knows what you're saying. Did you know what I was saying? Absolutely. See?
Point in case.
But anyhow, I believe the Miserac Senior Championship. Well, not senior, but the Miserac Championship thing was a $50,000 added event. Yeah. They didn't fill it, if I remember correctly. Now, come on, pool players. See, that would be an insult.
A couple times it was like, once it was like right after the Open or right before the Open.
But,
there was something funny there, but, you know, I always wondered why the hell that was. And the only thing I could think about was maybe it was because,
well, they're probably dancing around their ballroom schedule. You know, they have.
Well, no, they would get like 80 guys in the field, 90 guys, whatever. And I think it was a 128-man field. Or was it 96?
I think it ended up being 64 the last year or two, and I don't think they filled it.
But I kind of
it was a $500 entry fee.
Yeah, it's not a cheap entry fee.
And it's not a cheap hotel to stay at,
no.
like 150,
so,
200 bucks a night.
You're back to a $1,500, $2,000 nut, depending on your flight. And actually, if you stayed in that hotel,
you are expensive.
It was brutal. I went there for.
You did a streaming.
I did a thing for the WPBA, and for whatever reason, they were supposed to.
You were there for 3 weeks. You went to do quarters.
Well, I went to Florida. It was on a swing, which was a lot of fun. Andy was actually with me. We did a lot of stuff that trip, but at the Seminole thing. They were supposed to have taken care of my room, whatever, but they didn't, so I had to check in and use our card for the security deposit or whatever. It was like a $500 security deposit for one night. But so it was like $150 for the hotel room, plus resort fee and 18% taxes, and they said, oh yeah, and we need a $500 deposit. And I'm like,
I've never heard of that. That's bizarre.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, I shit. And I was like, are you kidding me?
You don't want to buy the hotel, you just want to rent it. So
right.
Well,
but, I mean, like for a lot of people, not a lot of people, but some people, I mean, if some people travel on a debit card.
Yeah.
Now, if you go with a $3,000 budget, now it's like, okay, well, 500 of that you can't have it until you're back home.
Yeah, that's interesting. I never heard that. But they did it was a nice thing. And the Seminoles, they're a big business. When they bought Hard Rock, the chain, the brand, the whatever, I might be off a little bit, but I read newspapers pretty good. I think it was $970 million acquisition. That's very close to being $1 billion. That's almost real money.
I'll tell you what.
They're big time.
Oh yeah. Well, the one thing I remember is walking through. I left Vegas, went down there. It's nicer than a lot of hotels in Vegas, in my opinion. Absolutely. And
we should charge them for advertising.
I remember walking through, and like anytime I'm here in Vegas and I'm in a casino, I kind of look around and see how busy it is. What games, are the games full? What limits are they playing? And in Vegas, a lot of times on the weekends, $15 blackjacks, sometimes the lowest you'll find.
25 in a lot of places.
And then sometimes 25. But even like lately, I always see $10, $15 blackjack. And same thing with dice. I'll look, and like Hard Rock on the weekend, they may only run one or here. They only run like 2 or 3 dice tables usually, but then the limits will go from 5 and then 10, and then they usually stay around 10. But out there, their blackjack tables, I don't think they have dice, but their blackjack tables, I mean, it was row after row of $25 tables, and they were full. I mean, packed.
Yeah, I don't know.
And I was like, wow, this is crazy.
Yeah,
but, when they kind of own that market in that part of the country.
those markets, those smaller markets compared to Vegas are a whole different thing. Vegas is picking up. The tourist industry in Vegas is actually, last quarter's drop was 9% over last year to date. But this town's so funny, and they have a little disclaimer. Says, that's because the baccarat tables were overly successful.
Oh wow!
This baccarat can swing the whole handle in this. I mean, there must have some whales betting whale-sized bets. But anyhow, hotels are running 95%. The McCarran Airport's going to have over 40 million passengers this year, which is a ton. They're still down about 5 million, 6 million from the 2007 peak. But it's getting there. So the economy is up on the upswing somewhat. Housing industry still sucks, though.
Yeah. Well, actually, for the first time in a long time driving around, I saw guys building like apartment complex.
There's actually some construction going on, but that's what's wrong with the whole American system. It's easier to buy a new one than it is a used one. So what happens to the used one? Well, it goes down in value. So does yours because you're living next door to them.
Yeah.
It's all screwed up. You know, these presidents should ask people what to do. You know? What do you got? You got a good
what else? There was one question here, Eastern North Carolina, NC. Do you have any interest in holding a $2,000 entry event like the Fat Boy with your extra tables in Reno, sort of a trial run, see how many people would sign up for a 2,000 entry? Interesting idea.
I'd love to. A little short notice right now.
It's late to do it now, is what I was going to say.
No, you get me 8 players and we'd do something.
Sure.
But where's the added money? And for that kind of money, somebody's going to need it. See, we're
you
not
need
adding
to add
money
at least 10 to get that.
This big table thing is strictly a let's see what happens. We have the World PPA, which is that amateur group, and they're expecting 100 to 125, 30 people. It gets us 9-foot tables back in Reno. You know, those Reno tournaments went on for 25, 26
Those Reno
years.
tournaments were awesome.
They were in their day.
The Reno tournament's the whole reason I'm sitting right here.
Yeah. And I'm from Alaska. We'd bring 25 and 30 people down for some of those things. It was just a party. So if we can get any kind of traction, we'll make an event happen next year. But we need somebody to, add some money, make it happen.
How about a pay-per-view 4-man 10-ball tourney, $5,000 each, winner take all, race 25, Friday first, Saturday, Sunday final. You know, it's just mainly for this reason. It's a good idea, and maybe next year it's something we can look at doing. But this year we're going into a new venue.
Which is a nice venue.
Nice venue.
Yeah.
In the past, we've been limited on space, so our setup was very basic, to say the least.
Yeah.
This year, we're going to have the room, so we're going to have basically the same setup we had at the U.S. Open 10-ball. Arena, multiple cameras, camera operators, all that stuff. Yeah, good lighting. So all that stuff, basically, it's just, we're not, me personally, and, I'm not trying to overreach and say, okay, I already know that it's going to be a lot of work, and there's always issues in new places. So basically, we just want to go this year, focus on getting the coverage, great for the tournament, and because there's going to be some phenomenal matches. There always is good matches.
Yeah, we got some killers this year.
And and that's why everybody's there. So that's what we want to focus on, because we don't want to take. It's easy, and I've done it in the past a lot. Is you go somewhere and you start, and before you know it, you're more worried about are 2 guys going to play a $2,000 set or something that's going to happen after the tournament. And that's not why we're going. But I do think that's a good idea maybe for the future.
We have to be careful because the reason we have these tables is because we have the amateurs playing on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So it's hard to put both, unless we brought up more tables and you could do
something during the week.
Yeah, it's better for the pros to be during the week.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's a good idea, and it's something we'd like to talk about.
The other thing we have going, we have a fellow from San Diego that wanted to try this new format, and he's been putting some posts on Easy Billiards. It's pay or play. It's an interesting format. I can hardly describe it, but it's basically you can buy in at any round of the tournament.
Interesting.
And so so say the first round is $5 a game. You play one game. Well, I don't want to play that. I want to buy in at the $20 round. Okay, you just buy a spot into the 4th round. So everybody in that tree before you, those matches don't exist anymore. So it's really kind of interesting. I'm really dying to see how it works out. And he's going to be doing.
That's interesting.
It's interesting. And he's going to be doing some events in the evenings. Won't conflict with anybody. I know there's about 60 or 70 responses on Easy Billiards, and some people are not getting it, and they're saying. He's not paying out enough, or he's not doing this, he's not doing that. He says, and my attitude is, it was interesting enough for me to say, sure, let's take a shot. It's his gig. He'll be there to explain it, and there's some upside and there's some downside.
Well, the way I look at it is, if he takes out too much money, nobody will ever do it again.
Well, he'll be there to communicate with everybody.
Yeah,
that's all.
And that's the other thing, and that's kind of. And there's always that fine line, but somewhere in pool, somebody decided that you should never take out money.
Well, they also decided you should play double elimination, and there's some real downfalls of double elimination.
But my point is the fact that you know, if you're taking in $5,000 and you're paying out $1,000, yeah, that's probably a little off kilter. Yeah. But if you're taking in $5,000 and you're taking out $500 for a tournament that you promote for 3 months,
and you could go backward, then that's not enough.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's like. Yeah.
And the other thing you have to really.
But I mean, like, there's like if they take out any money, some people lose their damn mind.
Yeah, you have to be really cautious in doing any large dollar amount tournaments because you need a gate. There is no gate in Reno.
No.
I mean,
players.
Yeah, and we're not even going to be set up to be charged anything. Everything is free. There's no point. You spend more paying the guy on the gate than the gate would make.
Right. Yeah.
You know. So now, although with the old Sands, they did have a gate. It was like $40 for the whole tournament, or $30. Because I remember
for the 9-ball, the big table.
Yeah. And it was like 4 days. So there might be some day when we do something, but initially we just want to build the events. So, we can talk about the Derby City Action Award. There's been a lot of scuttlebutt on that. We can talk about the Super Bowl. We can talk about whatever you want to talk about there, son.
Super Bowl has kind of been overshot. I lived in Indianapolis for 10 years. First year I moved there was 1997. It was the year they drafted Peyton Manning. So it's interesting to me that now here they are hosting a Super Bowl in their new stadium that they built, which is amazing. And one of the biggest things they're talking about is competing with the Super Bowl is, are they going to pay Peyton Manning $28 million or are they going to cut him? And they're going to cut him. There's no way they're going to pay the guy. But they're just, but it'll be interesting to see how they work that out. I hope they do figure it out because, you know, I live there and it was a neat time.
It's a pretty big sports town with 85.
Well, and the other thing is, like, seeing Manning in that hole and Dungy and, you know, the whole team that Polian built, it was a big deal in that city. I mean, Colts football was a big deal, and it was a good team to be a fan of because, you know, you didn't usually have to worry about them shooting up strip clubs or shit like that, and you know, they're a pretty class organization. And
you know, I'm not a big sports fan. I hate it when the winners tear the town up, and you got everybody tearing the town up. I mean, that's just nonsense. What's wrong with people?
Yeah.
You know?
But so to me, that's the story I've been following more so than the Super Bowl because, and the other thing is you got the Patriots, you know, the hated rival of the Colts, you know, playing the Super Bowl in Indianapolis. So I don't know. I guess if I had to pick somebody to win, probably, you know, Giants. Just, you know, Eli Manning winning in Indianapolis. You know, if his brother can't do it.
I don't. Who's favored?
I don't know, but picking between Patriots fans and Giants fans, oh man, that's a side. That's tough. That's tough.
On the action, it's Louis Roberts.
Oh yeah,
Louis Roberts, the Action Entertainment. Quite a lot of chit chat on the internet. I'm not going to take a whole lot of sides. I just got a couple things to say. First of all, Freddie Agner should. He's appreciated for what he does.
Fred should be commended.
All he is the messenger, and he tallies votes.
Yep. He's the guy who runs that whole thing.
And there's a lot of people screaming about this guy shouldn't have got this or that guy should have got that. Well, there's only 39 people voted.
Yeah.
That's pretty sad,
so there shouldn't be any more than 39 people bitching.
As somebody says, there was more than that people in the line for the ice cream stand.
Right. Yeah.
You know, come on.
Well, I think that voting
there's a lot of good
always
comments on that thread. Like, it shouldn't go to just the highest bidder. The guys, it's supposed to be action and entertainment. You know, right. Dippy won it last year, which is, you know, Dippy's the reason we're not there this year. It's just not worth the pain. You know.
Yeah.
And Inside Pool streamed and everything, but you didn't see too much on that one table. Very little. Just
it was cool. They did the straight pool thing. I watched Schmitty play Archer a little bit, and is Schmitty coming to Reno? I hope so.
I don't know, but he's playing on the Swanee. I'll ask him. Yeah. They said, I haven't checked the names in the Swanee. It just got, the names became overpowering after a while.
He's one of my favorite players, both to hang out.
He ran 2:49 in practice at the Derby on the Diamond. Yeah.
John's one of my favorite players to hang out with and to watch play because he's
funny on a stream.
Oh, he's great.
He's just a sandwich maker.
He's hilarious. That ball wouldn't have went in if you took the rail off the table.
Yeah. So. But anyhow, I mean, there's a lot of comments on who did win and who didn't win, and you know, it's a pretty big deal when you get free entry to everything, and that's a vicious nut to overcome. So, oh, and then Diamond announced the second event of the possible trilogy, which is in Tunica at Harrah's, July 20 to 28 of this year, and it's Derby City format on big tables and 80 bar tables.
What tournaments are they? Oh, so they're just going to have like at the old Derby where?
Yeah, it's going to be amateurs and a side-by-side.
So basically it's just another Derby in summertime in Tunica.
Right, but with amateurs.
Same games? I
would assume that I'm involved, but I'm not that involved. I'm going to assume because you're still close enough to bank country. Mm-hmm. Then there's discussions of a third one. So we'll see.
Room rates similar?
I read on the internet, I can't confirm it, that it was a $60 room rate, which is pretty good. Tunica rates are usually pretty good, though. And this is a nice place. Actually, Greg Sullivan and I went to this facility 5 years ago, our first initial discussion with him. Years ago, Peg Ledman through the WPBA did an event down there somewhere. And it's in two different locations. They're across the street from each other. Like the amateurs will be on one and the pros. You know, it's pool, and it's nice to see a large corporation. Caesars owns Harrah's. They've gone through so many name changes. It used to be called Harrah's Corporation, but now it's back to being Caesars, and they own Harrah's. They have 54 locations in the U.S.
Yeah.
They got some juice. Mm-hmm. The only thing I like about them is they owe $28 billion. How'd you like to have that nut?
What do you mean they owe that?
Oh, that's what their debt is.
They're in debt.
You know, buying those casinos ain't expensive. I mean, ain't cheap.
Yeah.
See, I said it again.
Exactly.
You know, it's caused by strokes. I had a stroke.
Wow.
I think that's pretty tough.
Just flew into town tonight. Boy, are my arms tired. Actually, I wanted to mention something too. It was about something we talked about last week. About bonus ball, and I said, my concern was, are they going to lock their players up into exclusive contracts where for 5 months or whatever they can't appear on other streams? Barry Brimmer of Bonus Ball sent me a nice message on Facebook and said that they're not going to do that. That they support pool and the industry, and I said that they would never do that. So that's. It's very nice, and I appreciate him taking the time and sending me that message. And it's at least, I know I'm not going to have to go get a paper route for 5 months, or wash his cars or whatever the hell.
My cars, like plural.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have a lot of cars.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I had another topic I was going to throw out there, but I can't remember what it was. It wasn't bonus ball. Anyhow.
What about WPBA? Any word on that? Who? Eva won, right?
Yeah. Blast from the past.
Yeah.
Beat
Allison. Beat Allison.
She beat Allison. She beat. Was it Guy Young Kim?
I don't know.
So whoever the girl was that she met in the finals is the one that knocked Ava into the losers, Hill. Mm. So then they.
Who did she play in the finals? Anyone know?
Well, the finals was Allison. The quarterfinals. Right. The finals.
Oh, okay. So
it was Guy Young Kim or Shouting Pan. And
there's a question here by a guy named Q Guru. It says, with this being the toughest Swanee tournament, how do you feel the room is representing itself by having the tables in poor condition? I don't know. Do you
Not
know how
very well.
Do you know how the tables look? Are they
jacked
up?
I'm hearing that their maintenance has slipped.
Yeah.
Steve Listicow did them for a while. Ernesto and Oscar did them for a while. Neither of them are doing them now.
Uh-huh.
Last year there was some that were, pretty heavy cloth and things like that. So, the problem being is I need a room. I can't do it with under 26 tables. And that's real. I need 35 tables to run a Swanee with 192 players.
Mm-hmm.
We could grow it to 256 if we had tables. Isn't that crazy? Mm-hmm. But I don't. But they need to take better care of their equipment. That's all. I mean, I've owned a lot of rooms in my life, and I've felt that you have to. It's just like you got to have clean bathrooms. You got to take care of the tables. Those are two of the primary elements of survival when you own a room.
They said here, Eva beat Jasmine, Guy Young, and Allison all in a row to win.
That's I'd have a hard time doing that.
There's a question here, why does Mark want to hold the events at a casino? If you're talking about the Derby events, that's really kind of Diamond's thing.
Yeah, I'm partners in Diamond, but there's no option. even in Vegas, where are you going to go to a hotel that has 200,000 square feet? Well, show me one.
Yeah.
That's not a casino or a convention center. Now, Alan Hopkins is moving to a convention center because he has no option.
Mm-hmm. Because a casino took his space.
That's right. His old location became a casino. I've been around a couple of tournaments in convention centers. They suck.
Mm-hmm.
You know, first of all, you're always dealing with a union, so your Coke's $4 and your hamburger is $6.
And it costs you $2,000 to get your merchandise from the dock to your booth.
It's union. It's crazy. Now, I mean, I'm sure Alan's not going to face those things, but it's just a different. It's just a big barn. Mm-hmm. They do have there's some niceties, like, you know, they're usually newer, and you have these portable walls so you can block off for security purposes and things like that. But
and then a lot of tournaments too.
Huge parking. They always have good parking.
Yeah, but the other thing is, a lot of times casinos will give you some money. They'll add money or help you out.
They'll give you the space.
Yeah, or exactly give you the
which
space.
Which is giving you money.
Right.
I tell you what, if I wanted to do my pool tournament and I went down to Las Vegas Convention Center,
oh geez,
y'all's double. Your prices are just doubling right now because it's something like 40 cents per foot per day. That's $80,000 a day in rent. We're there for 11 days. Well, that's only $880,000. We'll give you a deal, $750 cash.
Yeah.
Well, come on, that's more than the payout is.
Right.
So, you know, people I laugh at some of these comments. I didn't mean this in this particular case, but you have to go where you can afford to go. Mm-hmm. There was a post on AZ Billiards, and it was something. Some guy put a post out there, and it was the most asinine thing. I just think about things. Oh, I know what it was. I'm not going to go to the Alan Hopkins show because I don't play on 9-foot, or I don't play on 7-foot tables. They should put all 9-foot tables in there. I'm thinking, really? I think Diamond will send 199-foot tables for you.
Yeah.
There's not 199-foot tables in this friggin' country
ready to
give it some
somewhere.
thought. Just think about it. That's $2 million worth of tables, and we're going to send them up there for one weekend.
Yeah.
Who comes up with these crazy things?
My favorite one. Here's one of the favorite one I ever heard. This is a friend of mine and a pool player, a great pool player, was convinced, absolutely believed that Diamond Tables has a warehouse in Las Vegas where they keep every bar table you use in May
they would just sit them
all year round. They just leave them sit there. Just leave them there. And they only get them out 1 week a year for the Vegas Nationals. And then they go back in storage. With 300 pool tables?
Yeah. Oh, sure. That's what we do. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, and just
think about that for a second.
If you could build a table for $2,000, and if that's what it cost you.
Well, you can't.
You know, right, that's what I'm saying.
Not ours.
Right.
Yeah, but I understand what you're saying.
You know, what is that? $600,000?
Just sitting there.
Yeah. I mean, I was like, I told him, I was like, dude, I'm in the warehouse every week.
Where are they hiding them?
They're not there. That's not what happens.
Just the damn
balls.
He
goes, oh no. He goes, I know it. I'm like,
just the balls now cost $115 per table.
Right.
There's $45,000 worth of balls with your $600,000 worth of tables.
Just sitting there.
I mean, you know, if somebody just would think before they, you know, there's supposed to be a little time between head and fingers or something, you know, stop and think a little bit.
Well,
you know,
but
there's nothing to,
my other favorite thing is how much the coin drop is at certain tables.
Well, yeah, there's one guy who says he swears it's $1 million. I'll tell you what, we can make a bet on that, and I'm on the under. Way under.
That's one thing. Rick was showing me with, I think it's CTS or whatever, he can show you exactly how many games are played for the whole tournament.
Yeah, push a button.
Yeah, that right there's, you know, put in a decimal point, and there's your coin drop.
Yeah. And you're going to have to give me about 5 to 1, maybe a little bit more. It's crazy. And some of these people, you know, some of it's ignorance. Some of it's just, I just want to make a statement and create some buzz or something. But, you know, I'm a firm believer there's no such thing as a stupid question, although there really is. But but if there's just, you know, make try to pretend it's an intelligent question.
New to you, Q's. What's up, Jamie? You know, the Executive West was a dump compared to the new place, but I tell you what, it had character.
See, I like that old. Yeah. The first couple of years, I think it was my favorite place. We didn't get in the bar. They wouldn't let us in. What was it? Not Outrigger Bar. What was the name of that bar? Beach Beachcombers, beach something, the
I
bar.
don't know. It was awesome, though.
They wouldn't let us in the first
You know what
year.
I remember about the bar? Is that
The stage. It was elevated and everybody'd be sitting on
well, you're sitting on the bar and you're sitting on these little tiny chairs. So, and you're like right down against the floor, but then you look over and it's like normal height, but then the bartender was like 3 feet deep, remember?
But the funniest thing, the first year I went to Derby City, I'm walking down this hall, which is only like 6 feet wide, and there's all these faces looking in this plate glass window. It's 3 deep.
Yeah.
What are they looking at? Oh, there's a couple of guys gambling there. But they wouldn't let us back into that back part of the bar then. So next year or something they did. We had seven or eight tables back there, and that's when you set up that year.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Alex, there was always something going. It was much more intimate.
Yeah.
It had 600 rooms.
It was easy to get to your room to go sleep.
To me, that's another reason why convention centers are no good.
Yeah.
You have to be coherent to find your room.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, it's just it's tough.
Yeah, it's not easy when you start.
It's tough finding a venue to do an event.
Right. I mean, if you take a list of what you have to have, space-wise, parking, prices, all that stuff, and not only that, once you find all that shit, now you got to get the right dates.
I'm gonna drop one on you that I got hit with last night. Nothing against the Grand Sierra. We're working very, very good.
But
we need a forklift to move our tables. It's one of the natures of the beast. I can't pick them up.
Yeah. Nasty. Come on up to Reno.
How much do you think? Because it is a union store.
So they're going to rent you a forklift?
And a driver.
Forklift and a driver, $2,000 a day.
How many hours is that?
I'm going to say 10 hours.
See, you're close. $250 an hour. It would take us approximately 14 to 20 hours in forklift. That's between $4,000 and $5,000.
So $250 an hour for 10 hours is $2,500.
Yeah. So they want me to pay approximately, I estimate $3,750 to use a forklift to pull the table.
Could probably buy one for that.
Well, we can rent one elsewhere, and they'll let us. So we have another out. But it's just that one just hit me out of the clear blue sky. It's just interesting. Now,
what do they charge you?
I will kiss your ass if I make $4,000 total off this event.
Yeah.
And now I have to give it to the
right for
these
a
forklift. These are the things that if you ain't been there, you don't know what you're going to hit. Now,
my favorite
part of that's my inexperience because I gloss over things. Yeah, we'll treat you right. Okay, where do I sign?
Yeah.
Nobody thought about
a forklift.
A forklift.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tell them how much it costs to hang a light at the Riv.
Oh yeah, that was a cute one.
This is my favorite.
We wanted to move a couple of pool tables into the kind of near where the splash bar was, or outside that little theater.
It's the English pub now.
Yeah, in that area. Mm-hmm. We could put the table there, no problem. It was $600 to hang a light. Oh, it was $600 to take it down. For more than the table would have made. Yeah. That's a real good. Isn't that fun?
Yeah.
They make it too hard to do things, and it's just like, who thunked this one up?
$600 to hang a light, man.
The light weighs 15.5 pounds. It's our light.
It'd be cheaper to have two guys on pay two guys $10 an hour on ladders. Just hold it.
We've run into some interesting things. So I don't know. But we're looking forward. Listen, we're doing a lot of fun things. We have fun. I mean, I snapped some guy's head off because he caught me in a bad day, and he asked a dumb question. He mistreated one of my girls. Says he doesn't, but he did. I'll see him at the Swanee. We'll probably kiss and make up, but he's not going to wear shorts. but we try to have some fun. We can't cover all the bases. We're human, but we can't answer questions all day. We got things to do. So. Better be a fast question. We've been here an hour.
Was SVB's move in the bank pool finals intentional? I didn't see it. One thing I will say about Shane is, one, the guy's not stupid. Two, there's no way he would think to get away with something like that.
4,000 witnesses.
I mean, it's, I can think of a whole lot of other viable explanations in my mind that come up before.
Yeah.
And honestly, I can't think of too many players I would sit there and say, yeah, that was a move. I mean, in that situation, it's he's playing John Mora. I mean, they're friends.
Yeah. I saw like 90% of the shot. Okay, I was half watching the game. I was standing right there at the corner, and I wasn't, I was watching, talking, you know how I am.
Mm-hmm.
But he's shooting for some reason. He's down at the head of the table, and for some reason he's shooting jacked up or elevated cue. I don't really know why, unless there was a ball he was shooting over. The ball he was shooting at was basically a spot shot. I actually think it was down a little bit lower than the spot, but it could have been on the spot. And with that angle, they say he called it 4. Well, he did call it 4. But then he shoots it, and he makes it 2 rails, and he kind of like stood there for like half a second, reached for the ball, and everybody started clapping because that was the game ball. He didn't hit it hard enough for it to go 4 rails. It would have never got there.
Was he getting the ball out to spot it?
I can't respond. See, I can't respond, but it looks like, it's almost like he got disorientated for a second. But I personally think, in his mind, when he's down, how many times have you done that? You're down, no, I'll shoot it this way. And it's this way. I actually think he did that.
I just didn't say anything.
He just didn't say it. And then there was the clapping. And then this is where my memory gets a little cloudy. I think he took the ball and he brought it out, and either him or Ken Schulman disturbed the other 2 or 3 balls, counting the cue ball, that were on the table. Then Mora says, well, he called 4 rails. And then Ken got in the middle of it, and they talked to Shane, and they called it loss of game. Shane didn't argue, didn't anything. He knows he made a screw up no matter what. But I do not think he moved to try to steal the game. I personally, I think he had a brain fart. It's on tape.
Well, we'll see if we'll ask him about it in Reno.
Yeah, but it just was so unlike. It didn't fly into this pocket. It rolled into the pocket. I just think at the last minute, he kind of says, "No, I'll just do it too." He just forgot to tell anybody. Yeah. I can't believe he would have cheated. It's how do you cheat?
I don't. Well, I said something before, and I want to clarify it. I don't want it to sound like if he thought he could get away with it, he would do it. I don't think that's the case. But my point is, I don't see him doing it. And at the same time, it's like, who would try to do it? Even if you were trying to pull a move.
Well, listen, I've played a couple of players you couldn't even play one pocket with. Unless you put them in your pocket, because the balls kept moving everywhere.
But did you play them on the AccuStats table at Derby surrounded by 400 people watching?
No.
That's my point. Yeah. I don't know what happened. I'll ask him what happened, and I believe, I just can't see him trying to do something like that.
I'm going to put it down as, for more than anything else, a brain fart.
Well, the other thing,
him picking the ball up, by him Kenny disturbing the ball, something.
And I don't know what was leading up to that, if this was the first day of the tournament or the third day or when it was.
This was Banks Finals. It was the second day of the tournament, maybe the third day. And Mora had him 1-0. This made him 2-0, Mora. Yeah. Shane wins the next game, Mora wins the next game, and that's why Mora came in first and Shane came in second.
But, I talked to Shane, and he said he lost 8 pounds that week.
Really?
Yeah. He said, I was up every morning at 8:30.
Yeah.
He said he didn't do anything else. Said
wasn't drinking. He didn't match up. He was
all he did was get up and play pool. He said, I played so many matches.
Oh, he had to.
And he said it was just...
Just to keep your act together, that grind is amazing. Really. Yeah. He came in first, second.
Yeah. And the other thing about Shane too is, whenever you're at the top of your game, and if he does something wrong, believe me, Chad and I are friends with him, and nobody's gotten his ass more than me and Chad.
Yeah.
And that's because he's our friend. But at the same time, it's like, hey, you're fucking up.
Yeah.
Or not you're fucking up, but like he was slamming his stick on the table here during the Bustamante match. At the end of the day, I went up to him and I said, "What are you doing, Earl?" I said, "This no good." And he took it on board, and maybe he listens, maybe he doesn't.
Everything, the wheels came off.
But one thing I will say about Shane at the end of the day is he's just a great guy. And I trust him. I trust him with my life, and I've never, I've known him since '06. Went on the road with him for a little while, and I've been around a lot, and never seen him do anything dishonorable. So that's all I can say about him.
And there's been scuttlebutt of him matching up with Bustamante. The rumor on the internet was that they'd be playing in California. I don't believe they're going to be. He's fishing right now.
Shane told me that's not going to happen.
Yeah, so I do expect him to play again. But I'll tell you what.
I mean, the California thing.
Yeah,
but
Francisco, he played pretty good here the last day. He played real good. I figure this table right here won him the Derby 10 ball, the Fat Boys.
Yeah.
Because he probably went over there and thought he was playing on buckets.
Right.
These tight pockets.
Well, I'll tell you what, I went over to Best Billiards.
On the 10-footer?
Yeah, like not long after we got this. No, on the 9-foot diamond.
Oh.
And I was hitting balls.
And you actually could make a ball over there.
Well, it was like, this is easy. No, I mean, shit.
It's all relative,
But a big difference. Okay, I think it's time to wrap it up. Is there any time for one more question?
I'm going to make one little statement. There's a thread on AZ Billiards about the 1099 situation, and I have gotten I've gotten the response from one CPA, and I'm going to wait for another one. And next week, I'm going to give you the CPA version of why APA players, the possibilities, because nobody knows for sure, but there's only so many possibilities of why the APA is giving 1099s for $350 for a cue stick that you can buy for probably $140. It's real interesting, and it saddles the players with a bunch of crap.
I'll do some more research before. I mean, I've got an opinion based on what I've heard, but I don't think it's right to say it before I look into it a little further.
Well, we encourage somebody to come up and say something. And a little side note to APA LO and APA operator, which, by the way, the APA operator's gotten in some really cool discussions with the guy that's doing our pay and play forward type of thing format. He says he's a fan of brackets, bracketology. But anyhow, if either the APA LO or APA operator would care to call me and talk about this, I really hate talking to anonymous people posting. Yeah. I think it's wrong. Yeah, if you're worried about some stalker, that's fine. But have the respect or the decency if you want to get into debate and start calling people names. Because they said, Mark Griffin is this and that.
I know it tilts the shit out of you.
Yeah, it does, but
it's the internet, man.
Yeah, there's a lot of internet cowboys out there.
It's the internet.
So anyhow, with or without anybody's assistance, I'm just going to do a little digging because it does affect me, but I think it affects a lot of pool players, and I think it's wrong.
There was a question, were the pay-per-view numbers good enough in the Boosty Shane match to bring another top Filipino? Yeah, I mean, it was a great one. And we'd love to have another top Filipino.
We tried.
Tried to get Dennis to work with Dennis, and for whatever reason at that time, it didn't work out.
We're still doing preliminary with Wu. Preliminary discussions.
Wu's is great white pink elephant. If it happens, it happens.
If it happens, yeah.
It'd be great. Everybody talks about it. The funny thing about Wu is I don't think it would sell what people think it would sell.
It may not be because only real freaks know who he is.
I don't think it would sell.
But the problem we have with Wu is you don't get to pay just one person. You get to bring two because he has an interpreter.
Yeah.
So your costs double.
But, it's, to me, I would love to tell you the match I want to get done, man, Efren and Shane. And I know everybody says somebody besides Shane, but guess what? Show me another American that'll play.
Show me it, yeah. Yeah, there's a lot, and we preach about it all the time, and I don't know if it sinks in, but eventually it's got to. We hate just all these Shane shows.
Well, I don't hate it. I like watching Shane play.
Variety.
But I'd love to have a match in here every month with different players from all across the board. If you do real action matches.
And we're not, and the other thing, calling a spade, we got some great players. Brandon Schuff wants to be on TAR. But the problem is, Brandon Schuff wouldn't sell. And he knows that. He's moving up the ladder, and he stays in action, but there's a whole level of players that just won't cover the nut. The elite players, and there might be 8 Americans.
I don't even think there's 8. Rodney, Hatch, Corey, Johnny,
Mika.
Schmitty, Mika. Well, Mika, I don't really, he's an American, but Schmitty, Mika.
I know we missed Shane. You've got to count him in there.
Believe it or not, I think Donnie Mills would sell based off the last match.
Possibly.
But that's about it.
Well, the other thing...
I'm sure I'm missing some. If I'm missing somebody, sorry.
Didn't mean to hurt your feelings.
Deshane. I think Deshane would sell.
Deshane's getting there. touchy, but not too touchy. There's always debates on or discussions on, well, when's TAR going to come out with the DVDs? We're checking into some things. You can explain that better than I can, but DVDs aren't worthwhile for 25-hour matches.
Yeah.
The production costs.
Well, the whole store thing.
We're selling you a 12-disc tape and you want to pay $30. It doesn't work. And it's unfortunate, but it's life, and we're going to come up with a.
Well,
we're
that's
hoping to come
one
up
thing
with.
we're working on.
I just
Right now, it's it goes like, okay, here's my phone. Reno's next.
Yeah.
That's a big deal for me because there ain't nobody around going to help unass and pack this shit.
And that's going to be two free, one pay, two free, kind of.
Yeah, and that's something else. The schedule will be out Monday.
Okay.
But after Reno, we're going to look at the store. And I'm going to get with Callie and Mark, and we're going to sit down and see what we can do.
Figure something out.
And hopefully, we can get that sorted out, because we need to.
We just need to make these matches available for some way, somehow. And that's one of the things we think Callie Red can help us out with. So, but, we're fire the questions away. I don't know if there's any other ones there, but we've probably chatted long enough today.
Mora versus Orculo. I don't know if you want to stake Mora, they'd probably play.
Mora's game.
International
I like
customers. Some, nothing. Not really.
See, did we get
what happened to Orculo versus Shane? Well, nothing really happened. It never came about. We made an offer to Dennis to play, and
it just got too.
It just didn't work.
Financially prohibitive.
Yeah, it just didn't work. Numbers didn't make sense.
Yeah.
Shane and Earl never happened on TAR.
Yeah, Earl.
Alex and
very
Hatch.
serious bridge.
That would be a great match. Alex and Hatch. That would be an awesome match.
In Appleton, we didn't mention Appleton as a top player. You can call him as an
Darryl would be
American.
good.
He hates long matches, though. He won't play a race 100. And they don't have to be.
And I'd like to do, I really like the idea of high entry fee, few men tournament, something here. I mean, if we could find a way to make it work, and I'm all for it. And maybe at some point we'll look into that. It's just, there's a reason you don't see people doing the stuff we do, It's not easy. I mean, it's damn hard.
It's, you're at.
And it's a big risk. I mean, you can make a match.
Everything can go wrong.
You can make a match and
lose your internet.
You can make a match, do everything right. It can be a good match. You can lose money.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I mean, it's
And you can't do one a week because people can't afford it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a real fine line here.
It's a funny thing, and it's all about, it's just resources, and we're grateful that people have stuck with us long enough, and it's real easy, when you do something right, it sells. When you do something, if you think something's going to sell and it doesn't sell, you made a mistake. Yeah. So you try to learn from the mistakes. So that's why we don't do a lot of the stuff we used to do.
But we're open to suggestions, because somebody might come up with some goofy format that just might click. You just never know.
See, he's a freak for feedback. So
yeah,
somebody, please write him. I don't care if you make up something. Just give him something to do.
Yeah, but listen, it has to be the absolute truth. I don't want garbage.
Doubles match would be cool.
With the right people, it would.
Yeah, would be very cool.
Years ago, I remember when they had that on ESPN.
But here's one right here. Willie McCoy, I agree with you 1,000%. We need to see Schmidt, Harriman 3.
Boy, do I agree.
I'm with you 100%.
I mean, and of course they're both getting out of stroke, but they can get back in stroke. Harriman still is an awesome force on. He's
an amazing pool player.
Oh, he is. I love his game.
Plays all games very well.
Well, another one that's an all-around guy is Alex. You don't want to underestimate Alex's straight pool game. I think John Schmidt did 4 years ago when he was on fire, and he lost 2 barrels to Alex.
Boy, wouldn't that be an interesting all-around, Efren and Alex?
That would.
One pocket, straight pool, 10 ball.
Yeah. See, I'd like to see some 8-ball in there, too. On tight tables. 8-ball on 4.5-inch tables just doesn't get it. They play too good.
All right, guys.
Yeah.
That's it.
Let's wrap it up. Hey, one other thing you didn't mention. Next week, we will be in Reno, and we're going to do a TAR podcast,
Who's going to be in Reno next week?
Am I off a week? I did it again. I lose time, I gain time. It's all a wash. Comes out the same.
be here next Thursday.
Yes, sir.
And depending on when's the truck leaving?
My vehicle's leaving Friday.
When's the truck leaving?
I don't know yet. Rick gets in Monday.
Depending on when the truck leaves, next week's podcast might be on Wednesday.
Okay.
I gotta have some time to tear this shit down. So.
Okay. Well, that's what I was wondering. So,
Yeah.
Okay. Well, listen. We thank you. I even thank Justin. That's hard, but it's okay.
Cali to Reno.
Oh yeah, Cali to Reno.
Oh,
yes.
yeah.
Send
Send Mark an email and vote for Cali to Reno.
We do appreciate it. We'll try to follow up on a couple things, and there's still a lot happening in pool. Some of it's odd, but there's still a lot happening.
Oh, well, it's right now is a busy time of year. We got Swanee this weekend. We got Reno next weekend. A few weeks after that, you got Hopkins, which is going to be a good one, and then you got little breathing room, and then you got May.
Yeah.
So.
And in that March, April, May, you got all the state tournaments, all that stuff.
So it's good stuff.
All
so
right.
we'll say good night, and
night.
thank you.